yeah, I've always loved telling stories. I've always been obsessed with like the idea of being like a photojournalist, like running to the scene with a camera and a microphone and trying to document what's going on. So much happens in such a short period of time that it's not a lack of content that people don't make videos, it's an overabundance of it.
So how do you go about combating that?
This is my resignation from MCYT.
I've talked to so many different creators, I forget that I'm one of the rare ones who have interacted with so many different communities. These people actually don't know each other, even though it feels like they should.
Don't go and subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Alright lads, welcome back to Midweek MC, the podcast where I typically sit down with the amazing co-host AJX, who sadly isn't here today because we're recording on a Thursday. I know that AJX can't typically make any other day other than Wednesday, but I still decided to announce him in the Twitter anyways. I mean, he wasn't going to be here, but it's fine, it's okay, because it's not just me. You know, I have a guest on as per usual, and they're actually a returning guest as well, no way. I am joined with the amazing Fulham. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Orbitzz. I love going fast in Minecraft.
Dead serious. Sorry.
Passions.
Sorry, I just wanted to get out of the way. I clarified with them that I could make the joke. I wanted to get out of the way, fin the air straight away. I'm actually joined with Laz, the amazing Laz, who is an amazing creator in themselves. Welcome.
Hi.
Actually, this time for real.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I've listened to a few episodes previously. I've known about you guys for a while, so yeah, thanks for dragging me in here.
Worries. You know, you've kind of been on my TL lurking. I did the reason I made the Fulham joke is because that's actually genuinely my first interaction to seeing who you are. All jokes aside, I didn't even know you were a Minecraft creator. I thought that whole Fulham bit was how we'll get into talking about, but I thought that whole Fulham bit was how you got into Minecraft. I didn't know you was a Minecraft creator long before it, which is very funny. So that's gonna be fun to talk about. But you know, like I said, you're your own creator. You make your own amazing content, and I'm very glad to have you on today. So
yeah, thanks. I feel like a lot of people have discovered me through the extended Fulham bits, which I think is really, really funny. Specifically Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Twitter's very much like the vocal side of Minecraft. I spend way too much time on that godforsaken website. So I get it. Don't worry.
Before we carry on waffling though, because otherwise I'm just going to go down this massive rabbit hole, and we're not actually going to do the format of this intro of the podcast. You know, I've called you amazing a few times. I've said you're your own creator, and I've said you're great. However, for the listeners here, for anyone who might not know who you are you? What do you do? If you have a fun fact, other than the fact that you look like several other people. Sorry, I'll stop. That's the bit gone. Over now.
Do you want the full list of it? I'll email you a PDF with every Minecraft streamer I look like. Stampy Longnose? Who else? People have said orange juice before.
Orange juice?
I don't have a document, no. Although I maybe should now.
That'd be kind of funny. It's a bit like how the whole, like, have you ever seen that picture of Tubbo with the 3 other people, and it's like,
oh my god, yeah, like Koi Piso and Max GG's, they're all just the same person.
Which one's Tubbo? But yeah, who are you? What do you do? Fun fact, if you must.
Hi, I'm Laz. I'm a kind of Minecraft creator who's been making content for the last couple of years now. About last year, I really got into Minecraft, and I've recently been delving into a bunch of like event high production streams. In terms of fun facts, I look like a clown. I own an 150-pound KFC chicken burger plush. I think that covers most of my bases.
Wait. Run it back quickly. Sorry, what plush do you own?
This is once again why video would have been great. I didn't bring it to the studio today. Like huge KFC chicken burger plush. I'll send a photo so you can put it up on screen for the video.
Oh, see, the issue with me, lads, is I actually can't be bothered to do that.
Everyone go on my Twitter.
Yeah,
that's right.
No, literally, when this podcast comes out, someone remind Laz to quote retweet if you want, obviously I'm not trying to get free promo here, to quote retweet the announcement with like the plush so people can see. The issue is,
people need to know all bits.
As I mentioned to you before the podcast, I should really add images on the screen and stuff, but because it's just us two sitting in a chair on a 1-minute loop, then like people aren't really ever looking at the screen. If they're listening on Spotify, it's like, oh, I have to go all the way over to YouTube, I have to find the timestamp, I have to do this, I have to do that, and it's like,
Spotify listeners, visualize in your mind KFC chicken burger but big.
Exactly, and it's £100. You said
it's $150.
$150.
Bought by a chatter years ago, and I don't have the room for it anymore, so it's just sitting on my bed.
Oh man, so my girlfriend says like a decent amount at my house, and the amount of bloody, I think I have like a shelf dedicated to bears that just don't fit in her room.
That's good.
So
no, that's chill.
It's alright. It's a bit irritating. I'm just like trying to sleep and they're just staring at me so opposite my bed, and it's just like, oh god, it's a bit ominous. But it's fine.
Right, no, fair.
You don't look like a clown. No, you don't. You look fine, I think.
The hair doesn't help. The big hair.
I think it's fine. I think you look great.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Orbitz. I've been on your show for 4 minutes, and I'm getting compliments left and right.
Don't worry. I mean, that's what I do. I have to. You're coming on the podcast. You're talking. I have to big you up, right? I'm not just going to bring you on the podcast and talk down to you. No, I'm going to big you up because you're the guest today. I'm going to compliment you, and I have you on the podcast because I want to talk to you. So why would I not be nice to you? Exactly. So.
Right.
So let's run it back to where it all began. CertainlyLaz. Why?
What, the name CertainlyLaz?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, the way that I thought of my name, right? I've been making content pretty much all of my life. A lot of like creators have that start. I was watching, for those that are listening to this in the future, Tommy in it just released a video about like his full journey on YouTube and on Twitch. And pretty much everyone started just making content when they were a kid, being bullied by it, so forgetting about it for a couple of years, and then getting back into it at like 16, 17. Do you know the game Kahoot, Orbitz?
Yeah. I played it in secondary school like one time.
Yeah, exactly. So I like when we were revising for like exams and stuff, I would usually just do my name and then like a prefix because my name in real life is Laz. And so I would do like possibly Laz, maybe Laz. And when I finally got back into doing content, I was like, screw it, CertainlyLaz sounds good.
And you decided just to rock with that. And I mean, it's a good name. I mean, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're CertainlyLaz.
Almost definitely. Last time I checked, my corporeal form is indeed Laz.
You use too many big words for me. I've been at work until like 5:30 p.m. and I had to close the coffee shop. All right, my brain is not braining right now. You're using too many big words for me.
You work in a coffee shop?
Yes, I'm a barista. The regular listeners are going to be so annoyed at this because I say it every single podcast. I make coffees. Screw you, regular listeners. You can be annoyed at that.
That's really, really chill though. I feel like working in a coffee shop like directly allows you to kind of go into the content space having experience talking to people, right? Like the people skills you need to work in a coffee shop to speak to regulars. It's a lot. So yeah, it definitely comes through that kind of skill on this podcast.
It's that, but it's also the fact that like throughout the entirety of primary school, I was called Chatbox Charlie. I've always just been pretty good at talking. So I decided, you know what? Right. Why don't I just do something where I talk to people? I think I've also become decently good at like reading people. So I feel like I'm quite good at like. No, I'm really bigging myself up here. No, I'm not going to be able to read your star sign. I don't do that. But like just talking to you, I feel like I'm already matching the vibes pretty well, and I can match the next person's vibes and match the last person's vibes. It's that kind of idea. So it works out.
Well, it's to a degree like skills that had to be built up by talk show hosts in legacy media, right? And that's something that I think we see a lot in Twitch. I've previously described Twitch as like the new late night, just because this is a regular part of viewers' lives, right? And it's a regular part of my life, tuning into streams and hosting streams. It's a replacement for so many forms of media because Twitch is the way to broadcast yourself, I guess.
You also do something pretty similar, not the whole barista. You don't make coffees as far as I'm aware. You do talk to a lot of people and do a lot of stuff like that. As far as I'm aware, in uni, you're studying journalism right now.
Yeah, I am. So that specific skill set is just like born out of the fact that I, once again, yap a lot. Like you won't make it very far in content without yapping a lot, right? So it's... I
think it's a hot take because I think you can. Okay, I'm not saying that like it's all. I don't think it's all's all. Like as in, I never know the saying, so I just say all's all. I feel like you can make it decently far without being a big talker because we've seen it with like I can't really think of names, but people who make good videos but don't really talk too much. But then I think, especially if you're streaming, I mean, you have to kind of keep talking and talking and talking. And so it's why there's a certain thing for the podcast, and a lot of people I've had a few people ask like, why is there no gaps? There is a reason for it, because in my head and my kind of ideology, and it could be completely wrong, but it's how I see it, is if I keep the gaps in and you're going to hear constant pauses, you're going to click off. However, if I edit up to cut out all the silent parts, so it's just constant talk, you're going to listen. So
yeah, it's the idea of like ebb and flow, isn't it? Like you need to make sure that the editing, like all pauses in an edit are inherently intentional, right? Like, or they should be in a good edit. So it's about finding, like, once again, points to breathe and points to march on with the content. It's something that honestly we've seen kind of diminished a lot recently with like the beastification of YouTube. That whole idea that I bet so many people have yapped about to you on this goddamn podcast.
Actually, funny enough, it's not really the route. Sorry to cut you off there. It's not really the route we go down. I mean, I'm good to talk about. We have done like I've had podcasts with people where we do just get into talking about content. So I'm happy to do that today. It's not like, well, this podcast is going to go on for ages because we both just talk so much. But like, it's not something we get into because it's interviewing creators. But if you want to, I'm happy to talk about it. I won't cut you off again there, sorry.
No. It's totally fine. So I was just saying specifically for like, you know, like editing down a podcast and that kind of thing. And especially with like the huge rise of podcasts in the last like 6-7 years, right? Like this is a new format. It's born out of radio, which is something which like I study on my course, right? Like making radio packages and going on broadcast there. So seeing that adapted into a new format by independent creators, it's really bloody cool. It's quite sick.
What in like journalism, what exactly do you... Okay, you know, actually, instead of saying what do you do, because I feel like it's... Actually, no, just for the sake of someone who probably doesn't know what journalism is, what is journalism?
Journalism is telling stories and representing people who can't be represented. At its core, it is documenting experiences of other people, shining light on things which don't... It sounds like I'm fucking bigging myself up.
No, but it's fine. It's fine. It's your podcast. You're fine. Don't worry.
That's the thing. It's specifically the way that I see journalism and the way that I was so like, you know, passionate about it. It's an extension of being able to reach people, right? And that's why there's such a crisis in journalism at the moment with, you know, formats and things like that, because not many people watch TV anymore. Not many people tune into radio unless they're like driving somewhere or traveling somewhere. So how do we reach people on short form, on long form, and on Twitch? And that's why my main focus at the moment really is just on making content that I like, because making content for an audience of myself, I guess, allows me to sidestep all of those panics about format and stuff like that.
Why did you get into journalism? What about it kind of like enticed you to? I'm right about saying you study in uni, right? I haven't just assumed wrong there.
That is absolutely correct.
Why'd you do it?
I think because at its core, it's the same reason I got into content. I've always been a yapper and I've always wanted to reach people. And I've always wanted to tell stories, right? It's the same reason, honestly, why SMPs are kind of big right now. Journalism and SMPs is a strange segue. But I personally love journalism because, like, yeah, I've always loved telling stories. I've always been obsessed with like the idea of being like a photojournalist, like running to the scene with a camera and a microphone and trying to document what's going on. But specifically in regards to telling stories, like we all probably grew up being like weebs on the internet, right? You know, reading silly little books and like listening to silly music, and so and watching nerdy films, right? So we all want to tell stories. In regards to specifically fiction, that's why SMPs I think have gained such traction recently. I say recently, 5 years. Let's be honest, it's not particularly recent.
And so funny, like kind of linking back to something you said earlier about the whole in that Toys video, everyone made the content when you were younger, blah blah blah. My story, and we really don't ever, none of us live original lives. Crazy. Back in year 7, for context, that's like when you're about 13 years of age. Back in year 7, I had a YouTube channel. Won't say the name of it because
the video is still up, Orbitz, because mine are as well. Go find them, viewers.
They're not actually. I do have a channel from when I was 10 called Boy Gamer 909. Is it that one? I've said about it on a podcast before. Hold on, let me just make sure I got the bloody name and I'm not mixing it with someone else.
Boy Gamer 909?
Yeah, Boy Gamer 909. I uploaded 2 videos 10 years ago. Minecraft Xbox 360 edition #1, and then me and a few friends built the Hive Xbox 360 edition, which is actually it was actually a pretty cool server. But anyways, we
could do about Legacy Edition as well for a while. Oh my god.
And back in when I started secondary school, I made a new channel and I had a few friends and I was in a few videos with other people. And like there was these 2 guys and they made like an entire video just bullying me. So we actually got it. We actually downloaded it to a USB because my mum stepped in. She downloaded it to a USB, took it into the school. They deleted the video, but we downloaded it. So it was like, oh, we have the proof. Their faces are in the video, so I guess proof that they were the ones doing it. Obviously, deleted it after once we'd reported it to the school because we didn't want that. And forgot about it. And then when I left secondary school at the age of like 16 or 17, I started the Insane Orbits channel. And I started with tutorials, was making a crap ton of money from it, and then now I'm here and earning not really that much, actually spending a lot more than I'm earning. But it's worth it because I enjoy it. And I like yapping, so you know.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to speak to creators about like where they got started with their like channel they're currently operating on, because I was talking with I think Apakuna a couple of nights ago about the content I used to make, and Appa was just like, we all got started somewhere, because the way that I broke into the Minecraft scene, right, was I started making videos that took different aspects of what I did in real life and what I was interested in online into something which like fit on a channel that no one else did before. So that was reporting on news about Minecraft and news about like SMPs and things like that, because there's that inherent connection. I feel like there's very much like this really solid fan culture around SMPs and around Minecraft content as a whole. So the way that I broke into into Minecraft was like, okay, make content about these communities because honestly, they should really, be shined a light on or have a light shown on them.
That's exactly what I'm doing here, really. Like even with you today, I'm kind of shining a light on you and talking to you and giving you a platform. Because how I've always said it, right, is you can talk about something on stream. Someone can ask you a thing on stream, right? But there's two things that I really pride myself in. One, I ask questions that you probably never thought about asking or answering. Sorry. Two, it's an archive. If anyone ever asks you a question and you, instead of searching for a Twitch VOD, you just be like, yo, go here, right here. There you go.
This podcast is me cryogenically frozen on May 30th at 8 p.m. 2024. If you want to go back and see what I was like back then, watch this podcast, I guess.
Even though this is coming out on June 5th, but we're still recording on this day. So there you go.
You're, I would say, a journalist. In the sense that, like, you are actively documenting what other creators are doing. You're actively documenting the zeitgeist of the space at this time, right? The, like, culture around Minecraft, this specific point, and Minecraft creators at this specific point. I think that journalism is becoming more and more, like, based around creators, based around personality. It's the reason why when someone wants to make content, I instantly am like, you need strong brand identity. You need to, like, show if you're comfortable with it, show your face, or have, like, a brand that can be associated with you. Because, at the end of the day, people in the like Minecraft space, right, and people who are doing journalism, they are just showing what a community is like at a frozen point in time. And as more creators go into doing that kind of thing, then the question becomes, well, is this something that's regulated? And are you watching for news or are you watching for personality? And that's something which I definitely am pivoting to at the moment as I go into more personality-driven content that is like surrounding myself rather than MCYT as a whole.
What do you plan to do with it though? Like I know not like when you're moving into stuff and what you want to like your plan for like personality or that kind of stuff. You're studying journalism in uni. I know I mentioned it a few times, but it's just for the sake of reminding people that you are in fact a journalist. But
yeah, guys, calc, it's short for calculator. Sorry.
Wow. Okay. And you mentioned about how like in the mainstream media it's becoming a little bit less and less, which is true. I mean, no one really like a lot of people, and I know this isn't really linked into it, but like news reporters who are shoving cameras into people's faces and taking pictures. A lot of people are kind of against that now, at least on Twitter, because cancel culture is really high at the moment. I mean, from what
I wouldn't go into the. I don't think it's that route at all.
Oh, well, no, I'm not saying that's what you do. Sorry, I'm just using it as like
no. I'm not. I don't think that's where journalism is right now.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
I think the bigger issue is the fact that people are more invested in creators, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. It's just when you have like one singular person who's not being held accountable to like regulatory bodies, like Ofcom, for example, then you run a huge risk. You run the risk of that person, when they have full control, being able to peddle any narrative and people accepting it as truth.
To be fair, the comparison was meant to be like a really crappy comparison to like, I'm not saying journalists are shoving cameras in people's faces. The point is,
people are tired of mainstream news. It's true.
That's what I was trying to get at. So, but what exactly do you plan to do how do you plan to mix the both journalism and content? Because you clearly want to do both. So what route are you going to go down?
Ooh, you've caught me at the worst possible time for this because right now, there's an inherent rift between content creation and journalism. It's something that I constantly have to remind different like people in the industry. I had a meeting with someone at a local BBC branch recently where they were like, okay, well, we want to get into the content creation space. We want to be on social media. We want to reach people that way because that's how people are consuming stuff. But when you're publishing, for example, news on YouTube, you are not competing with other news. You're not competing with, say it's the BBC. You're not competing with ITV. You're not competing with NBC, right? For American listeners, you're competing with every other form of media that has and will ever exist at any point. You're competing with Minecraft. You're competing with gaming. You're competing with Mr. Beast. Are people going to want to watch something quite sad about like the cost of living? No, people are going to want to watch Minecraft, and I don't blame them. And so for me personally, you asking how I'm going to merge those two, I think they're inherently separate worlds. I think that gaming is quite disenfranchised with journalists at the moment, if I'm entirely honest, which is a byproduct of like horrible right-wing people doing Gamergate in like 2012, right? But for me personally, I adore content, and the main thing I'm really passionate right now is about production, and it's about putting on shows, and it's about using Twitch as a format and an interactive medium to engage viewers and do something a little bit more interesting than just, without dissing myself, sitting at a camera and hopping on a server.
I feel like that should be like, I mean, at least I guess it's just I'm a bit different. For instance, like with like the Minecraft, like with InsideMC, I mean, it's a podcast kind of. I see the thing is, a lot of people call it interviewing podcast, and I kind of agree, but I also, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot about myself here. It's how I relate to like
please,
you.
Go ahead.
Like I see it as different because I'm not interviewing you. I feel like an interview, and I know it's a very broad term, but I feel like an interview in my eyes is I ask you a question, you answer, I ask the next question. But we're having a chat, so I think it's different, at least in my eyes. But I think with InsideMC, no one else in the space is doing this. No one else in the space has attempted this in Minecraft. I've never seen it. Maybe I'm just completely missing it, but no one has done what InsideMC has done in the last year. And I feel like, at least with you, I feel like you could really use your skills in journalism, which I think you are doing, with the confidence, with the talking, with the knowing what to say, with the big words. I feel like you should use that as motivation to kind of link the two and become that person who's like, crap, this is original. No one's done this. I love this. And so, in my eyes.
Yeah, I really do appreciate that. I think it's an interesting take, right? And it's something which I think there will be someone who fills that void, right? That being said, Minecraft content in general right now, and this is absolutely what you were describing, it's quite oversaturated, and so people are wanting to find different angles on it, more interesting angles with it. Ludwig describes it as the yoink and twist, seeing an idea in a different sector and applying it to a different fandom, right? And that's absolutely what you're doing with, say, like, are you familiar with Colin and Samir?
No.
Really?
I'm not.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
That's no. That's I just think that's really interesting. Colin and Samir do a creator economy podcast, and a podcast where they interview different creators. So like Tommy's been on it, for example. Mr. Beast has been on a bunch of times. Ryan Trahan as well. Like these huge established creators, and they just ask about, like, how does this make sense? Like, where is the creator economy going? And what you're really asking people is, like, in a conversational way, right? What you're asking people is, okay, well, where's Minecraft? Where's what you're doing? Why are you driven to make what you make? I'd highly recommend, without promoting another
No, that's fine. I don't mind.
But Colin and Samir are fantastic. You're taking that interview aspect and bringing it into Minecraft, which I think is fascinating.
The thing about InsideMC as well is it's like kind of it's a win and it's a lose, because we don't use faces, right? I'm able to get people on the podcast who are faceless. There's a lot of people who've come on the podcast who don't show their face, and I have a face cam, but my backdrop isn't amazing. So I might in the future, who knows, turn on a face cam. But AJ, for example, is faceless. Names off the top of my head, we've had Savage Lord on who's faceless, Wolfie who's faceless. They've all come on the podcast, and I think the nice uniqueness of it is the animated videos. But it's also like, how would I ever convince? Because I mean, we're branching out. We've had people on the podcast like Milo. They're from GSA, which isn't Minecraft. We've had Tomina's mum on the podcast.
Sarah Simons.
Yeah. So like,
legend.
But how can I get into the field of possibly convincing people like Mr. Beast to come on the podcast if they're going to come on and their face isn't going to be behind it? Are they going to do that? Probably. But it's like, how well would that do? And it's like, so it can. That's when it gets into a bit of territory of I'd love to grow it and talk to other creators, which I plan to do. I plan to branch out. But the brand InsideMC, how far can that take me, kind of thing?
Yeah, and another thing is obviously at its core, like the premise of this podcast is speaking to right now. The premise of this podcast is speaking to Minecraft creators in a casual way, asking them questions they typically wouldn't be posed, right? As opposed to other podcasts like, once again, like Colin and Samir, for example. Iced Coffee Hour is another one that are like hyper focused on, okay, what's going on with the creator economy? How did you get your start? Why do you make what you make? And I feel like that kind of like looser vibe of just chatting with people makes a lot more sense for a fandom. But I imagine you do indeed want to branch out beyond MCYT. So I definitely get the struggle. And I think my solution there is just experiment. There's a reason why all of my videos, for example, have my face in them, because I tried doing it faceless and I didn't like what I was making as much. People connect more to a brand or an identity. So yeah, I'd say experiment with the kind of content you're making. And you're clearly already doing that on YouTube, I will say. You had a bunch of, I believe, SMP creators on and asked them, like, what do you think about the space right now? Like, you had a bunch of YouTubers and then asked them about what's going on in the MCYT space, like strongly agree, strongly disagree. Yeah. That's a really fun format.
That was taken from like the I know loads of other channels have done it, but that format was taken from the Sidemen. And then there's the how do MCC participants compare themselves? And I think there was another one.
It's a yoink and twist. You're allowed to do it and make something unique, right? Like every single show that creators put on, for the most part, was seen somewhere else and then done on Twitch. But with an interactive format brought into it. I mean, Mogul Money, for example, from Ludwig, that is just Jeopardy. Like, Price is Right Price is scuffed, right? I don't think you should feel bad for yoinking and twisting from other formats. nice.
I don't feel bad.
No, okay, that's good.
It's funny though, because you say that, but 2 days ago from when this podcast coming out, so for us it's actually on Monday, is this video has just been released. I sent you the thumbnail, so you can make of that what you will, but it's funny because that's just going to come out before the podcast, so we actually have another one coming out, so we'll see what that does.
Very exciting. Yeah, I mean, just keep pushing the format and keep trying new things. You'll never know if you don't try.
Exactly. Back to you though. Obviously we don't sorry, I know we kind of went on a segment of
I get so locked into the content talk that it'll always end up me just being like, not hyper analyzing channels, but being really interested in where people are going with them. So I'm sorry that we just kind of went on that rabbit hole.
Well, no, but it's a good talk because we talked about the both of us, right? I mean, it was a back and forth. I got to talk about myself, and like I've said this before, I used to really overthink like how much I talked about myself on people's podcasts, and then I realized, wait, it's my podcast. So as much as I'm interviewing you, I'm allowed to kind of get my say in, because otherwise you just go and make this video on your own channel, you know?
Yeah, it's the Larry King format, like throwing back to like old interviewers from like the 80s and 90s. It's a conversation. It's not like straight up this response. You've mentioned it a few times, and it would have been a perfect transition, but I wanted to keep the conversation going. You talked about how like your format right now is turning, like hosting really cool stream events and turning them into YouTube videos also. I mean, just looking through your channel here, we had the Ultimate Kahoot stream, literally just reading out the titles. Twitch chat made me do a cooking stream, which isn't really per se like I guess it could count as an event. Yeah, no, it would. Kahoot with Twitch chat is unhinged. My Minecraft stream is Run, my game show, which I hope maybe one day I'll get invited to one. Hint. But yeah, so what kind of goes through your head to do this? Because it's working and it's doing great and they're really, really entertaining. I mean, streamers Ruin My Game Show, that's about the same time as I got introduced to your channel, and that video was amazing. I didn't watch the stream. With also my clone being on there, Lewis Fulham.
Who's the clone though? Actually, before we answer
that's true.
Who's the real one? Who came first? It's like the chicken or the egg, the Fulham or the Laz.
Fulham or the Laz. Oh man.
Without sounding weird in asking this, how old are you?
Fulham, I'm 20.
Oh crap! I think Fulham's the same age.
I think Fulham might be a little bit older than me.
I think Fulham's older.
Fulham did come first.
The chicken
which is twisted.
came first. Yeah, he goes after.
That's Fulham's the chicken. Okay, right.
Wait, no.
Whoa, you said it.
No, you said it. I said the chicken came first. I was just meeting.
Okay, look, I'm not getting involved in no controversy here, Robin.
But yes, content. Why do you do this?
So, specifically in regards to event production, I've always been very, very interested in how larger broadcasts work and how traditional shows work, right? And something we're seeing more and more on Twitch is people, as the space like expands more and more and there's more money in it, people want to make interesting concepts. I feel like Twitch as a platform is inherently built for interactivity, and it's inherently built for having your audience directly interact. And so doing high production streams where chat can directly influence the outcome of the stream, so for example with the Kahoot one, right, that's genuinely one of my favorite things to do, period. If I didn't do journalism, I'd go into production. And as more and more people want to do these events, more and more, like, there'll be more and more opportunities, more and more production companies that want to step in and make these happen. So the big step that I'm doing right now is using these shows as a way to showcase that my team, and I'm very, very lucky to have a team now that helps me work on this stuff, show that they can do these interesting concepts, and then get brands interested as well. You're only as good as the team that's behind you, and for shows, you're only as good as the preparation that goes into it. So I've had creators reach out to me being like, okay, I want to do, for example, like a charity event, right? Using some specific kit that like you have access to, or what we're doing right now, without spoiling too much, the next event is set to be done in a full TV studio with like 30,000 quid's worth of like equipment, right? And the concept is inherently built off of formats we've seen previously from legacy TV, without spoiling too much. So yeah, it's about like making Twitch seem approachable to sponsors, having a personality tied to it, whether that be another streamer or me, so that then money is involved, sponsors are involved, we can fund doing these. Because right now I'm very lucky in the sense that like my Twitch chat allows me to do a lot of this stuff. But I want to get to the point where we can just do these shows that people are really, really passionate about. Yeah, it's something I'm really, really interested in kind of expanding in future. Hello, if anyone wants to do a show who's listening right now.
Come on, give a shout out to your team. Come on.
Yeah, I don't want to use real names. I don't want to dox anyone. But people from the uni. There's someone who works in.
They're not online people.
Oh no, they're online. Some of them are online people. Other ones just like live around me and adore production. Cheesy Casts is a caster in the League of Legends space who is absolutely fantastic. He's my cameraman. We have Cindy Cinnamon as well, who's one of my moderators, who does vision mixing and audio production. And these are all people who've been like properly trained in this stuff. So like it's really good to have professionals on hand who know how to like shoot, who know how to set up these events and make them really, really special.
Do you know who I reckon you'd have an amazing conversation with? And I really would love to see you two have a chat. Maybe I'll have to arrange it one time. Wadebox.
Wadebox? Okay, I don't know if I know Wadebox.
So Wadebox is, they've been on Midweek MC also.
Legend.
They actually work in like, they've worked a lot in TV production, etc, etc. If you ever get a chance, definitely listen to their podcast.
Sick.
I reckon you two would have an amazing chat because they're actually bringing back a thing. It's called the Wadebox Show, I believe, or something along those lines. Where it's like their own little like kind of talk show kind of thing, and talked about anyone's going to talk about on the podcast. But yeah, I reckon you two would have a pretty amazing chat. I think you'd get along quite well as well. So
no, absolutely. I mean, please like connect us. I'd absolutely adore to like have a conversation about this stuff because
I'd have to figure it out because also you and I, we've talked a decent amount, but we haven't talked a load. So it'd be like, how do I turn around and like get you both in the same call and be like, yo, or even message like, how do I do that cleanly?
But the thing is, like, because production has been around for so long, because video has looked so good for so long in like the prosumer space, you can get cameras from like 12 years ago that look fantastic. Like, we don't use cutting edge stuff on our shows. We use relatively old equipment and also cheap equipment. For example, like there's a vision mixer called the A10 Mini, which is a 4-lane capture card that you can live switch between. And it's like 300 quid. So yeah, you don't need like a lot of money to get these shows started. And even then, like, you don't need a vision mixer. You don't need special cameras. You can just use your phone. I think that vulnerability and kind of like not improfessionality, like that lack of polish is what draws people to Twitch. There's always something that goes wrong in my shows, and that's kind of why I like doing them. We're on Twitch. It doesn't need to be overly professional, but in regards to like getting brands involved, it needs to have a little bit of polish. So yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, not to promote other people on the podcast as well, but if knowing Fulham, have you ever heard of President Poundcake?
I haven't. No, once again, I haven't really like. I've met a lot of people, luckily through projects like Duckcraft, right, and also through shows I've done like Life of Views. But I haven't had the ability to reach out to too many people other than the Duckcraft gang.
So President Poundcake is also someone who's done like something similar to. They've done 14 YouTubers to complete awful challenges. They did Family Feud with speedrunners. They've done Jeopardy in Minecraft. They also kind of do the whole like game show thing, but like they do it live on Twitch and then turn it into a YouTube video. Sorry, not to promote them on your podcast here. No, please. I relate you to people who I've also talked to. Poundy's been on the podcast as well, so it's cool to like, be able to relate the both of you that you both make like really cool content. It's similar, but you have no clue who each other are. It's mental.
Well, that's the thing. This space is both so large, but also we're all trying to just, make the most out of this crazy experience. Like, we are unbelievably lucky to have enough of a platform that we can do ridiculous shit online and have people enjoy it, right? Like, we're so privileged to be able to do that. We all want to help each other out. So yeah, absolutely shout out as many people as possible.
Well, no, I think that's it for now. I mean, it's just funny, like, I feel like if you three worked on a show together, I reckon that could be like fire. I don't know how much it'd crash ideas, but it could be quite cool. You know what, actually? I'm starting to gather together people for a video if I did like do all like YouTube producers think the same. I mean, I've got you, I've got Poundy, I've got Wadebox. I just need 5 more people and we're set. Yeah.
Could you imagine? But yeah, the thing is, everyone who wants to work in this space and everyone who has experience working in this space, they are just unbelievably dedicated to the craft, right? This is very much the in terms of production. You don't. Okay, you don't think so?
Well, you carry on what you're saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in and then I'll say
no, it's okay. We'll get into it. But yeah, the people who work specifically on like event productions, I mean, there are 2 big names in the space right now, both of which being American. There's Off-Brand, which is Ludwig's big production company. He merged it with Beyond the Summit. They used to do a lot of Smash events, but now they do events for different creators. So like Ludwig, Doug also did a show with them. And then JK Productions, which is one of Germa's friends' production studios. They did shows like the Germa Dollhouse. They did shows like Germa's baseball association thing. They did Generation Loss. And the people in this space, the people who really like push it forward, it means the rest of us can keep doing interesting stuff. There's definitely a gap, I think, right now in the UK creator economy industry for a production company that can achieve something on a smaller scale, obviously, can realize a lot of those like dreams that creators have of making interesting stuff. Every creator that I've spoken to in the last like month, when production comes up, they're like, I have this incredible idea for a show. And my instant response is, please, let's make it happen. This sounds awesome. I just want to be able to, if I don't become a full-time creator, which I'm almost at this point, but there's a few more stepping stones to go through, I'd love to just do production.
we're kind of going back to what you said earlier. The reason I stepped in and said my own opinion was that I think a lot of people, I think people like yourself and I, and like I work a full-time job. I'm working 7-8 hour shifts a day. I've been doing a lot of overtime, which I'm not doing anymore because I've realized it's not very beneficial. That's a story for another day. But you know, I work a full-time job and I'm staying up. I sleep about 5 hours a day because I'm editing 2 podcasts a week, and then I'm paying a lot of money to my podcast team as well. Like not absolutely everyone, but like, you know, for instance, I have Vera who's edited this video, Twiggy edited a video that came out 2 days ago. You know, like I have a team of people who are helping. Joe Carter making shorts. So, like I'm gonna thank them because they're my team. But like, where's I go with this? Oh, but I put in the dedication of being willing to go down in finance, which probably isn't the smartest of ideas, but there's that hope that killing my sleep schedule, there's that hope that in a 2 years or 3 years time I can sleep well knowing that I'm doing this full time. I'm earning the money to be able to pay my team more and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like a lot of people really want to grow in the space but don't have the dedication to push through it. They'll stream every now and then and they'll kind of just go live and that's it, right? And a lot of people, I think it's, for a lot of people, it's more than just going live and that's it. They might give off those vibes. If you're in the space, you can see that they're doing more than that. They're going live, they're dedicated to going live at this time every day. They're dedicated to stream for 3 hours a day. And although they're chill, that's just their mentality. Then there's other people who are like, oh yeah, I really want to be a big YouTuber. And then they'll upload like a video that's already been uploaded on 50 other channels about once every 3 months. And it has high production and I think it's a really, really good video, but it's not like the kind of mentality to be like, oh my God, what this creator stands out compared to these other 50 creators who made the exact same video idea. And that's just my hot take. That's my hot take.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily disagree. But also, obviously, like so many people in this space, like you've said, are doing it part-time. They're doing it in the hope of it becoming something better. And because of that, like there are a lot of people who don't have the time to do like other stuff on different platforms and do like unique ideas. I think that there is an inherent drive from a lot of creators to do like really, really interesting stuff, right? But they just don't have the time. And I feel like that's okay. It's the idea of Twitch being I've used this term a lot recently, but Twitch, because they don't have a major discoverability algorithm, it's a kingmaker system. So at its core, the people at the top stay at the top, and you need to go to another platform if you want to grow. I feel like there have been exceptions to that recently, but yeah, like if you want to really grow on Twitch, you need to syndicate it across other platforms.
I guess like my thing was more so like not even just in the space. I was talking about like a broad YouTube in general. I've seen like a lot of people who, even just from people I've interacted with one time, and so they're not in this space, I've just like come across their channel. I've seen them like a post on Twitter going, and this is not word for word, so if you search up this exact word and it goes to a tweet, I'm so sorry, this is not targeted at you. They'll be like, oh, like, you know, I'm really proud of this video, it's a 1 of 10, like, and it's I can't wait. And it's like, yeah, oh, that's really, really sick. This tweet was 6 months ago and you haven't uploaded since. And it's like, come on, like I'm so cool to see that you're happy with the 1 of 10, because I get really, really happy when I see 1 of 10s. I mean, the SMP video has 21k views. I was going crazy about it. You haven't uploaded in 6 months, so what's happening? Why are you so happy with this video? But and then you're like, oh yeah, and then like 3 months after that tweet came out, you'll be like, oh sorry, I went on a break, like I'll be back, you know, blah blah blah. And then it's like 3 months have passed again, it's like, oh yeah, no, definitely I'm gonna be back this time. It's like, I understand a lot of people are busy and a lot of people have stuff going on. I guess my mentality is so different of, instead of keep tweeting that you're gonna come back, just come back. Like, you know, no one's putting the pressure on you. If you're busy and you have a busy life and you're studying or you're doing work, and
don't make promises you can't keep up is what you're putting
exactly
out there.
Don't keep like, don't, because there's a lot of I don't want to go into specifics here because it might sound like it's targeted, which I don't want to be targeted. There's a lot of people who like upload and then break and then upload and then break and then upload and then break and then upload and then break. And it's not hiatuses, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm not motivated, but I'm motivated again, let's go. And then I've lost motivation again, but then I'm motivated again, let's go. And it's just like, you want to do it full time, you said you want to do it full time, so why do you keep losing that motivation? What's happening? Kind of thing. So
and I feel like the main thing to new creators who want to break into the space, what I tell them is just make sure you can keep up a consistent upload schedule that allows you to create content that you enjoy without getting burnt out, right? And I think short form honestly is the thing that's broken that for a lot of creators, because they're like, oh well, I can just make a short rather than making, say, a video that would take, let's be honest, like 8 to 9 hours longer to make. That is a lot of time, by the way. They would rather just like make shorts consistently. And honestly, for new creators in the space, I highly recommend you make shorts. The reason why I actively gained an audience was because of shorts that I would make, because I was able to be consistent. consistent. Consistency is key.
It's so funny that you say that about like the whole consistency stuff, because for a lot of people it's actually become like a shock to their system. Like, as in InsideMC, you know, is coming out every Friday at 4 p.m. BST. A guest announcement is coming out 7 p.m. every Friday at BST. A guest announcement for Midweek MC is coming out every Monday at 4 p.m. BST. Unless I'm uploading a video that day, it gets moved to 7 p.m. BST. Every Midweek MC is coming out Wednesday 4 p.m. BST. So like when I uploaded the video the last time that I uploaded a video before the Dara podcast, right? I uploaded on Monday and people were like, what? Where's the guest announcement? And it's like, wow, I keep a system, but it's just going to be 3 hours later today. I want to promote the video first. So that's why on my main account and sometimes in the Discord, I'll like promote the fact that I'm uploading a video on Monday. So then it's not a shock to a system when you see video 4 p.m, guest announcement 7 p.m. And it's just so funny how people like have that like routine.
Yeah, I once again, it's going back to that thing I was saying earlier about Twitch being the new late night. People make it part of their schedule. Like, you know, my viewers show up 7:30 p.m. dead on like time on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays because they know I'm going to be streaming there. And like, I'll have offliners if I don't, right? You know, I'll have people in the Discord being like, why are you not streaming, please? I think anyone should have, like, if you're able to, have a very consistent schedule, but have one that like, you know, you won't break. I think audience habits are the best way to cultivate an audience.
By the way, Laz viewers, with that being said, you should really appreciate your streamer because this podcast is being recorded on Thursday simply because they didn't want to break their stream schedule. Literally, they could have taken a Wednesday off. They could have moved it to Thursday, but they didn't want to do that.
Sorry.
So we moved the podcast a day back. Lost AJX because Laz is loyal to you. So
I can't believe
that,
AJX died because of my loyalty to my audience. And what do I get from it? My chat calling me a clown and Fulham.
A clown and Fulham. That's perfect for the pre-intro clips. I love that.
No! You're gonna take this out of context. It's gonna seem like I'm freaking out.
Yeah,
my God. That's hilarious, man.
Back to like production and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
You know, this is just a good chat. We're just talking about content as a whole. It's nice. I like the road this is going because it's very rare we do this. And like, clearly you wanted to go more down this route than kind of this part interview, part let's just waffle about how we feel about content, which is good. I love this.
So much of my brain has been eaten away by the worm that is like making cool events and like making videos consistently and that kind of thing. YouTube has ruined me.
How often do you do these events?
So we initially tried to do once a month, and we very, very quickly realized we need more time for these. We need to create like, you know, a system where we can think of an organic idea, then execute it well, right? So the first event that we properly did was, I believe, Life of Views. That was in January. Editing, the fact that like it was a really, really long recording session. It was a really long stream. Editing it down took a long while. I had to get some extra help with that from an editor. But then the next one was in March. Then the one after that was in April. And we realized in April we're doing these way too fast. We need to slow down. So we're thinking about once every 2 to 3 months. And so the next show, for example, we're getting help from like, you know, a separate production group beyond us. And trying to bring a few people into our fold to create something really interesting with this. We've also, without revealing too much, this event is going to be happening months down the line. So this is I guess a little teaser. This is an exclusive for InsideMC, but we've recently signed a deal with HTC Vive to use some of their equipment in an upcoming stream. And it's integral to the stream concept, right? So things are going to get really, really interesting in regards to what we can achieve as we scale up and get more and more brands involved. So yeah, we're taking a little bit of a hiatus right now from events. The next one, without leaking too much, is scheduled to happen mid to late July.
Ooh, can we get any hints to what it's going to be?
It's within Minecraft to a degree.
Not inside Minecraft?
It's not inside. Well, no, none of the other events
it's
are
inside MC.
It's inside MC. There's no way.
Lord.
It's something that's directly linked to a lot of stuff I've been doing recently with Minecraft, and is directly linked to getting viewers involved, getting viewers in the room, so to speak. That might be revealing a little bit too much, but it's very exciting. I have another person who's on my team who I didn't shout out earlier. Is Spanner. Spanner is a developer who's previously done stuff for like the Technoblade team. And she's absolutely fantastic when it comes to programming dumb ideas I have into into stream concept. So yeah, I've got an unbelievably experienced team. I've got some brilliant friends who are helping me out with this. Very excited about it, Orbitzz. I don't want to reveal too much, but I'm very excited about it.
I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great. Are you going to TwitchCon EU this year?
I am. We originally were going to go. This is, I guess, something that now will not happen. I'm not going to reveal too much about the show because we're going to recycle the concept. I have a little Bible of all of the ideas that I have piled up, right? I have like an events Bible of every concept I've had and probably will ever do. I know right now what my last event is going to be, which is just kind of sitting at the very back of that book. We were going to do an event at TwitchCon EU. We were going to do a spoof on talk shows to a degree. We weren't able to do so because of time constraints. But yeah, I'm still really excited to go to TwitchCon. Man, it's the highlight of my year.
So we're going to get to meet in person.
Yes, dude, we gotta hang out for real. This is the first TwitchCon where like I really know other creators properly. I was blowing up a lot in like June, July of last year. Every time I appeared on other people's streams, chat would freak out, which is still so sweet to me. I still get like butterflies in my stomach at the fact that like other chats know who I am. But yeah, it's the first time I'm going to be able to hang out with other streamers and yap about how ridiculous this job is, because this is weird, man.
I went to TwitchCon last year. I did a round trip.
Yeah.
I got the Eurostar at 6 a.m. in the morning, so I left my house at 3:30 a.m. I got the Eurostar back home at like 8 p.m. Got home at 11 p.m. Right.
You mentioned this on the Apo podcast. I've heard this.
Oh,
yeah. I listen to InsideMC. It's true.
For the Laz listeners, I did a round trip to Paris last year, and I met a few people. There's a really funny story of, and I don't think I told Hannah about it, which I should have, of like where I think we were going down like the escalator, and I was with a creator called Potato Pie, and I've said it on the podcast, it's fine. He turns around right as we're going down the escalator, he goes, "Oh, that's Hannah and Sylvie." I think they heard him say it, and we just went down the escalator and walked off.
And that's it.
Yeah.
End of story.
But I knew like a few people in the space. I met up with Space Brownies. I went and like met Jackass, like just a quick hello. It wasn't really too much because we weren't like proper close. And I gave Pickles a handshake for some bizarre reason. If you know any of these names, some of your listeners will probably know. But what's called, like last year I didn't really know anyone, but this year, I mean, the amount, like it feels like this is the TwitchCon to miss. Like not to make people feel bad if they're not able to go, but this is really the TwitchCon. Like if you miss it, you're missing out, I think, because like with MCC going on, with the amount of panels going on, and maybe I'm just more into the space. Maybe I'm just really invested into the space more than I used to be because of the podcast. But it feels like this is like a big Wade box is going. Maybe I can introduce you both in person if I'm able to make that happen.
Absolutely, yeah. The thing is, like a lot of so last year with TwitchCon Paris, right? The main thing that I did for that was just networking to hell and back. I'm not a big fan of networking, but like I'd go to like creator events. I'd go to like loads of different things. There was a party on a boat in like a Paris canal hosted by Lurkit, without promoting Lurkit. And so I was just trying my best to reach out to as many people as possible. But this time I think I'm going to take it a lot more chill. I think I'm going to wind up just grabbing drinks with just random creators. It's going to be so chill. It's going to be so laid back.
You drink alcohol, Laz?
Of course I do. I'm 20. I'm a uni student.
I am also alcohol consumer.
Hype. To be fair, it's terrible because I am on Duckcraft, right? Like there's a beer mod, and so I've been brewing my own beer in my Minecraft basement. And so there was a law drop yesterday, so about a week ago for viewers. And it was like an internal document from an election campaign thing, and it was just like, Laz is a ruthless alcoholic, and I'm not. But like my character just is. What do these people think of me, Orbitzz?
I know Fulham likes alcohol as well.
It's true. We after without like I guess leaking DMs or private conversations. After Life of Views, we were all just like, oh, we're gonna hit a casino in Rotterdam. Stupid.
Wait, what's
so
that?
dumb.
Life of what?
Huh? No, Life of Views, which was the first show I did. That was the game show.
Oh, sorry, got you. Sorry, I don't know why it's right out there. I got you. I thought you said after, like, because I don't know. I'm confusing myself.
After I lied for views.
Oh, lied. Oh my god. It's a game show with Fulham, dark eyebrows, all that kind of jazz. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I heard Life of Views. That's why I was confused.
No.
Because I'm thinking, like, I think I'm gonna meet up with like a few people and go and drink alcohol because I'm quite a heavyweight. I can drink a lot without like getting too affected.
He's a tank.
So I think in Rotterdam, I'm probably gonna have a really good time.
Well, we're staying in Amsterdam for the first couple of days, and then once the con starts, we're going to Rotterdam. So it's gonna be hard on my bank account. Get these Twitch Primes in, boys. Because it'll be really fun. As I said, it's the highlight outside of my year, right? Like I only take one holiday a year. I'm hoping 2 this year with TwitchCon San Diego as well. Because, well, the thing is, San Diego's happening 2 days before I turn 21.
Oh,
and so it's really frustrating. So we're gonna probably stick around a bit longer after that. But I love being able to meet up with people in the space who just do interesting stuff. It's interesting, I think, specifically with like creator events, but also creator events ran by brands. A lot of MCYT isn't really like plugged into it, which is really strange to say. So like I try my best to like go to like sponsor events, things like that. I went to a Logitech party about a month ago, and like there were some pretty notable creators there who like Tom Scar was there, which was weird.
I met Tom Scar.
But I love Tom. Wait, sorry, what?
I've met them.
Yeah.
They
Tom
like
Scar's
host
lovely.
booth for like every single Comic-Con. So
oh, genuinely, yeah. But specifically with like those events, a lot of Minecrafters aren't there. I was the only person who consistently played Minecraft there, and it was really quite not played, but like played on stream. And so that's such a strange feeling that like MCYT is quite insular in the grand scheme of things.
Get
Like
me
we think
invited
it's
to
such
some
a
of these
big thing.
parties, lads. If you need a plus one, hit me up. I will always come. I'd love that. I'd love to be able to like, especially
I
with
will say
branch out.
specifically with like going beyond brands, right? Going beyond sponsors, that kind of thing. YouTube in the UK is also just unbelievably good at supporting up and coming creators. I'm very lucky that like I've wound up on like their shorts community like thing. So like I went to YouTube's big Christmas party in December, and that was just that realization that like, okay, YouTube is so much bigger than me. Like this is such a huge event. It was in one of the most like famous, it was in a really, really famous like venue in London. It was at the Coco, and it was like, wow, YouTube can do this. Like making videos can get you to this point. This is incredible. I want to do this for the rest of my life, right? That realization that content is so much bigger than I am.
Well, like I said, if you ever need a plus one, lads, I'm always interested.
That's I'll think about it.
Keep me in mind alongside all your many other probable plus ones.
Oh my god, that is absolutely.
Yeah, and I love the idea of it. And I think because with TwitchCon, I think my thing as well is, and you're probably the same way, is a lot more people know about me now. So a lot of people in the space who are going to TwitchCon, they know who I am. Whereas TwitchCon last year, like I met with people and I said like, oh hi, like I met with someone, and like they may have heard of me but probably forgot about it. But I feel like I've made such an impact on myself now, whereas if I go up to people and be like, yo, I'm Orbitzz, they're gonna be like, oh, podcast guy. I'm like, yes.
Yes, it's because the thing is, last year, because I did so much reporting on QSMP, and I still get this nowadays, I have people going up to me like, oh my god, it's the QSMP guy, and it's like, I was nothing to do with that server. It's so funny.
I met Quackatoo. I got a picture of Quackatoo.
Oh really? Nice.
Yeah, so hang on.
No, please.
I just thought it was pretty cool because we were just sitting there, and there was like this big group we were with, but it was all downstairs, so we were kind of just like sitting away behind the like the escalators, and just hiding away for a little bit so we could rest. And then just out of the lift walks Quackatoo and a bunch of other Spanish streamers, and we're like, what? Like, oh my god. So I got a picture. I made sure to get a picture.
Well, I will say it's very easy for the community as a whole to deeply like what's the word? I guess to idolize, right? To deeply idolize these people who are larger in the space. And something I've realized from speaking to a fair amount of them is just they're normal people, and at the end of the day, beyond that, like, god, I would be so tired of humanity if I was in the position of people like, like people who are big in the space, people like Tommy, people like Tubbo, like, because good lord, like fans can be very weird sometimes. I had a very weird fan interaction when I was at TwitchCon, and it was nice. It was one of the first times I ever signed something. Signing things is a weird new thing for me.
I've signed something as well. I've never done. I signed one. I signed somebody's badge. I was like, why you what? Shout out Chaos Max, by the way.
Yeah, but it's genuine. It's such a fun concept. Like the idea that within this very, very small microcosm of the internet, like you can be someone that people are aware of. It's very sweet. I feel like Minecraft, more than any other community, I think it's unbelievably varied in the amount of people that watch, but it's also unbelievably varied in like how people are invested. Some people are so locked into Minecraft, other people watch really, really casually. I used to be one of those casual watchers, and then SMP happened and I got very into it.
I used to be a Bedrock creator, so I was a very casual watcher, and then I started interviewing creators, so I had to
You are one of the first Bedrock creators I've spoken to. I was having a conversation about Bedrock creators just the other night, actually, because it's what draws people to creating like Bedrock stuff.
I just enjoy Bedrock. I mean, there's a creator called Evident. Sorry, I know we're talking about. Yeah, this is the format of the podcast. We're talking about other people.
Don't stop apologizing about bringing up cool people.
Evident, like they're like one of the biggest. They're not sub-wise, but like in regards to like relevancy-wise, they have like 200k subscribers and they make Bedrock Edition content. They're like pretty big in the space. They kind of just they came on the podcast like 2 years ago. I talk to them every now and then, but when I left the Bedrock community, I kind of cut ties with the majority of people. But they're like one of the bigger like names, I guess, in that space right now. So like I don't know. I guess it's just what people enjoy. I mean, with Evident, for example, he's kind of becoming that guy who's like the standout person, so it works for him. So that's his, when we talk about like original concepts or like standing out, that's his standing out kind of thing. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I will say Java has a way more mature audience than Bedrock does, just by virtue of it being PC only. It being a way more mature platform in terms of development as well. It's way easier to make mods for Java than it is for Bedrock. But because of that, it has a way more invested fan base, in my opinion. This is something which I probably shouldn't yap about, so feel free to cut this if needs be. But some of the production stuff that I'm doing, a lot of this started because the YouTube party that I went to, I ran into a musician who wanted to do a Minecraft server. And it turns out like they were signed for Sony, right? Or signed to Sony. Sony really wanted it to be a Bedrock server. We're pushing really hard right now for it to be a Java server. Pretty much like they very much were like, okay, well, there's a larger audience on Bedrock. And it's a more casual audience that's on Bedrock. I think for a project like what we're doing, and I feel like a lot of MCYT creators agree, Java allows for an audience that is way more invested, will spend a lot more, if not time, then attention on it, and in general are just way easier to deal with. There's a reason why a lot of servers that advertise like crossplay between Bedrock and Java, Bedrock side is usually the bit that gives them a headache.
It's like a double-edged sword, because Bedrock, you have, if they can get onto it with Microsoft, you have the featured servers list, and as much as the new
features, monetization options,
the marketplace, all that kind of stuff. The issue with that is the fact that Hive and CubeCraft kind of run Bedrock, like other servers just don't even really come close to it, other than Lifeboat, who I'm still convinced bot player counts, but we're not getting into that. So there's that, and like I think it'd be good on Bedrock and it'd probably do well. But then there's the other side of Java where you're right with the optimization and stuff, and then we have to take a look at Tubnet, we have to take a look at MCC Island. MCC Island is doing great for player counts. It's so Hypixel, nothing's really coming close to Hypixel. Tubnet, for example, was this big server ran by Tubbo with all these promotion options, and then now it's no longer a server at the moment, and it's like you have to kind of, even Cytuxian, it's a big name, right, but they average about 300-400 players now, and it's like what you need to kind of, it's rough. I think making a Minecraft server in this day and age is really tough, especially if you want to take it somewhere.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And once again, that's why we're going for a more niche experience tied to like fan interaction with the artists, stuff like that, rather than what MCCI is doing and Tubnet did, which is, let's be honest, take on a behemoth. How do you take on Hypixel? How do you try and, like, because Mineplex was the closest one that was able to even come close to being, you know, one of the big servers, and Mineplex doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. I mean, Mineplex is coming back. When we talked to Samito a little while back, so there's a possibility.
Yeah, but even so, I feel like it's too late to compete against something as huge as Hypixel, and I honestly don't think that that's what MCCI wants to do. I think they position themselves in a position to it being they position themselves into MCCI being a companion piece to MCC. MCC functions as an advertisement and as a way to, like, you know, celebrate the Minecraft community, and then move players over to MCCI where they can play these games. Because for so long, MCC was like quite literally just like games that only creators could play.
Oh no, MCCI by no means is trying to compete with Hypixel. I'm just saying.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think you need to.
No, you don't. But I mean, I was just more talking about player count in general. I wasn't saying about competing. I wasn't saying about thing. I was just saying about like the fact that newer servers have a significantly low player count as opposed to the server that's been around for years, which makes sense. Has that also?
No, absolutely, yeah.
So alongside that, I was going to say something in regards to TwitchCon. Back to TwitchCon talk.
Let's go TwitchCon.
Are you going to watch MCC live?
Yes, I watched a fair amount of it last year. I think that MCC as an organization, and I guess by extension, kind of Nox Crew, they working directly with Twitch they're able to scale up these events. They're able to make these absolutely incredible live experiences that they would never be able to do otherwise. Even just from a production standpoint, like MCC is a fascinating look into the hell of getting a bunch of creators in one place to do something. Creators are kind of hard to get to do things, you know? So yeah, I'm really excited to see it. I hugely respect Smager. I hugely respect everyone behind that project.
Well,
and Fulham's in it!
And Fulham's in it, no way. Technically, you could sneak onto the stage and no one would see any different.
No one would be aware!
Exactly.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
With that though, there's obviously, we've mentioned the panels a few times. One panel that's going to be happening is a POW Creations SMP panel. You're in an SMP right now.
Yes, I am. I'm actually on an SMP with one of the people who made Pirates SMP. Good old Apokuna. But yeah, Duckcraft is the SMP that I'm on right now, and I'm having genuinely the best time with it. This is the first I think creator SMP that I've really sunk time into. And it gives me it's an invaluable opportunity to meet really funny people, to make like really strong connections, and to tell a story. I feel like Duckcraft is very different from what POW does, but everyone on Duckcraft wants to make it this big success, which I think is really, really cool. Yeah, the SMP space is weird right now, I would say. As I said, I listened to the interview you guys did with Apo, and there is this huge hunger for heavy lore SMPs. There's also a massive oversaturation of SMPs that are coming out at the moment. And so how do you balance that? It's something that I think that POW is going to struggle with a little bit, especially since like they do these huge overarching stories. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be at the panel. I'm hugely fascinated by what POW is cooking and what they do and how it's sustainable, because sustainability is the hardest thing in the creator economy right now.
I mean, the transition there was more to be talking about you and the SMP scene.
I love how I spin it into production every time.
As opposed to the actual panel itself, it was more so aimed at you being an SMP. How did you get into Duckcraft?
So as always, it always starts with the dumb Twitter posts that I do. So pretty much I repost my TikToks on Twitter, like some of them, right? You know, ones that I think pertain to the MCYT community a lot more than others. Obviously that's how the Fulham one got on a lot of people's radars. That's how there was recently one about like life of views, that kind of thing. That's how that got on people's radars. But with this specifically, I saw that an SMP was happening. I saw there were a lot of people who I knew on the server. And Derpy was like, if there are any other creators who want to join this minute, please reach out. I reached out to Derpy and I made a short about this. Derpy responded, "Silly Fulham, you're already on the SMP."
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Which was really, it showed once again that like people are up for just having a laugh. From there, Derpy invited me. I've had so much fun with that server. It very much has the vibes, without upping it up too much, of like SMP Live from back in the day, in my opinion, combined with these heavier lore aspects of, you know, like a post DSMP world. I think it's really exciting. I think that Derpy is an incredible talent. I would never say this to his face, but Derpy is cooking right now. Yeah, I'm hoping to do a lot more videos specifically on Duckcraft. I feel like that's the one thing that's lacking right now in terms of output. And I think that's the one big issue with SMPs at the moment. The fact that so much happens in such a short period of time that it's not a lack of content that people don't make videos, it's an overabundance of it.
How do you go about combating that?
Well, I think you have to just like, the thing is, it's having to regularly just make content regarding the funny moments and having to cut down like aspects of those like comedic spots, especially as we like go more into lore. I feel like first month of a server is always going to be quite silly. It's going to be people fucking around a lot, and from there I can make fairly regular videos about what's happened on Duckcraft. I've already made one, and then from there getting that engaged audience and easing it into lore, and immediately that's been a fairly big success, specifically in regards to last night, for example, where there was a huge lore drop that happened through a Discord server that I was streaming live. People were really invested in that, and I think there's definitely a hunger for a balance of an improv server and a lore server. A server that does it really well is Sleep Deprived. I don't know if you're tuned into SDMP, but good lord, they are.
We didn't really talk about it too much, but I've had Krinios on, I've had Captain Sparkles on, as you mentioned. So yeah, they're both in it. So I know a decent amount about it.
Yeah, it's a server that is once again very reminiscent of SMP Live, SMP Earth, you know, projects that were heavily less built around lore and more heavily built around like just friends having a laugh. I feel like lore can often alienate, And that's something that Minecraft servers really have to balance. I think especially now as, post-pandemic and post cost of living hell, people they both want something to invest themselves in, but also want something that just feels like mates hanging out. I'm not the kind of person to write out a huge story and perform it on an SMP, but my viewers really, really love those lore aspects. So it's a balance, definitely.
I should have invited you to that SMP video.
Could you imagine? I'm very new to this world. I did reporting on stuff that was happening on the QSMP, so I'm very familiar with how that server operated, how their lore operated, but also they're the biggest player in the space, or until they, shut down, they were the biggest player in the space. Every other SMP was looking to them specifically for, okay, what can we do to engage an audience? And there were flaws with that. I think specifically with everything that happened with the admins on that server, for example, like mistakes were made, right? But also it's shown that you can have admins play actors. Or play characters on the server. I think that we're going to see a lot more like characters and non-creator characters be on servers quite soon. It's the same thing that happened recently with, you're probably not tuned into this at all, but there was, I think, a Jenny Nicholson video on the Star Wars Hotel. You might have seen this on Twitter. This is a weird,
one, right?
The 4-hour long one, in a similar vibe to like a H-Bomber guy video. But that was talking about immersive experiences from a production standpoint, and how having one huge player in the space fuck it up, it means that every other immersive experience is going to get a lot less funding. So seeing that QSMP was a huge success and massively merged together different communities, it's a very good sign that companies and creators are going to be looking at, and Twitch as a whole, are going to be looking at SMPs more and more in the future as this kind of, route to reach people and route to tell a story.
Essentially, to put that into simpler terms, I'm not obviously calling people silly, but just for my sake, it takes the bigger guy to mess it all up for the little guys. There you go.
No, it takes the bigger guy to do it well.
But I'm saying, but if they do it wrong, but you also
if they do
said
it wrong,
if
then
they
everyone
do it wrong.
suffers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it works both ways. It's both the same thing, just where the difference is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is what POW's brilliant at in terms of messing with new concepts. Pirates was a huge experiment, right? It was a massive experiment in regards to making a server that creators were, one, invested in, but two, where they had AI operate some of the dialogue and that kind of thing. It was a world that was inherently built for telling stories in a way that was scripted enough that it's coherent, but unscripted enough that people felt comfortable to just do whatever. I mean, Watermunch had a wedding on that server out of nowhere, right? You can do improv, and that's what Duckcraft is really, really good at. I mean, I don't know if you tune into a lot of Duckcraft, but Gravel, example, I've got a this isn't a stream event, but it's a minor thing that's happening tomorrow, as of the time of recording, a week ago for listeners, where pretty much I can talk about this because it'll be done. There's an election going on the server. I'm doing an election speech because I did one last year, which got a lot of people invested in my stuff to do with QSMP. So I'm doing an election speech, but it's going to be hacked by Gravel, who is an anarchist who wants to kind of tear down this election. It's doing silly things like that's a fully live action produced thing that's going to happen before the stream, right? Which I still need to finish filming. It's having community events like that and having people who are up for that improv. Gravel absolutely is. I don't know, it's weird to call my friends inspirations, but a lot of those creators are huge inspirations in regards to where they're going right now with what they're making.
I'm glad you brought up the election because I was so ready to bring it up first, but it's fine. It's okay. I was actually going to ask you, are we able to because I'm now you said there's law on burning it, which is fine. I was going to say, did you want to try and rig the election on this podcast?
So I'm sorry, CertainlyLaz viewers. I'm sorry, guys. But me running for the election right now is a spoof. It's not actually happening. So the idea is, and this is something which I so when I saw the elections went live, I messed around with chat and they were like, you should run. We already have some incredible fan art of vote for Laz. But the idea was always to mimic, I guess, a mix of early Doctor Who and The Thick of It. I don't know if you know The Thick of It, but Peter Capaldi was in it. It's very good.
Into the Thick of It.
No. It's
sorry, no, I know what Thick of It is. I was just joking. Sorry, it was just that.
Yeah, but it's a political satire, right? And for me personally, I always wanted to do an election event because it's something which my viewers really resonate with, especially since a lot of them come from QSMP. A lot of them come from that kind of 2021 Minecraft vibe. But I always wanted it to go wrong, and I always want to subvert expectations. I want people who watch my stream streams to be like, I don't really know what's going to happen right now, but Laz is funny, so I'll stick with it and see what happens. Specifically with Duckcraft stuff and with SMP stuff. So yeah, I was never actually going to run for the election. It was a way to trick my viewers in a fun way, like in a lore way.
Was there anyone you want to rig it for then?
Oh, right now there's no one who's to get into. Oh, guys, it's Duckcraft, it's DC SMP Laz here. Right now there's no one I think who's running for mayor who will do it justice by virtue of the fact that we don't know what powers they're going to get. We don't know what the mayor's going to be in charge of. We don't know what the mayor can do. Right now there's a lot of stuff going on internally at the server in the law regarding Derpy, the fact that Derpy runs a corrupt company. Also, Derpy is trying to rig it against other people. So like for example, Watermunch, it was revealed last night, has been funded by some mystery advertiser in order to get posters put up everywhere. Don't know if that's even true or not. It could be, it's heavy lore stuff. I'll do a short about it to wrap it up. This will probably be out by the time the short's up, but a lot is happening, Orbitz, and I'm really glad to be in the mindset where I can just mess around in this world.
So basically, we hate Derpy and we hate gravel. Come on, say it with me for the pre-highlights.
We hate Derpy, we hate gravel, we hate Watermunch. My vote's probably right now going to Watermunch. Watermunch is a legend.
That's going in the pre-highlights. So as far as the listeners are aware,
until they get to this part, you hate I'm gonna kill them all.
Whoa. Calm down. I can't put that in the pre-highlights, so I'll get demonetized.
It's gonna be me roasting Fulham. It's gonna be me saying I hate Derpy, I hate Watermunch, and hate gravel. I hate MCYT. I'm opening a bakery.
Open a coffee shop.
This is my resignation from MCYT. How's that?
That's a good one. I'll use that instead. It's just gonna be all you being negative. Oh god, no, I'm not gonna. I'll do some positive stuff in the highlights. I can't just portray you as a bad person. I promise.
It's genuinely so funny, man. All right. Yeah.
What? So I guess like with SMPs. Do you have any plans to join any future ones?
So there are a couple I've been speaking to that I'm not gonna like leak yet. Yeah, I think the inherent problem with the SMP landscape, and this is not bashing anyone at all. The problem is there's just so many at any given time. I was watching one of Michaela's streams recently. Michaela was saying the same thing, where it's like, I've been invited to so many SMPs, I don't have enough time, and I also don't want to confuse my audience. Right? I personally am only comfortable focusing in on one major SMP and then maybe one minor one, like as time goes on, just because it alienates people if they can't tune into every single stream. So right now, I'm not entirely sure. I want to make sure that I focus on getting videos out consistently, which is what we were talking about before. I've had to delay a video that was supposed to come out today. But yeah, I just want to be consistent on YouTube. That's my main focus at the moment.
Do you plan to join InsideMC SMP then? It's an SMP.
Oh, could you imagine?
Everyone just pretends they're podcast hosts. They all just interview each other.
I think for a little while there, I think 2022 going into 2023, people were quite burnt out with SMPs. There were still big players in the space. There was stuff like Rats, and obviously Pirates started up over that summer, or the summer of 2023, I should say. But specifically in regards to like big SMPs, there was a bit of a drought after, let's be honest, DSMP, because people weren't truly invested. Now I think we're starting to see it come back, and that's because there are SMPs for literally any kind of viewer or age group, right? Like sleep deprived SMP is fucking unhinged. It's the kind of stuff that, I aged 15, 16 would have loved, right? Stuff like Duckcraft, which is like drama kid improv kind of. And there's also, judging by what's going on with, for example, let's say Beer Fungus SMP, like
USSMP, yeah.
USSMP, which is pretty much like it's a spiritual successor to something like SMP Earth, where everyone's tied to a specific state, right? It's really interesting. I think that we're about to see a renaissance in SMPs, but God, we've got to tread lightly to make sure we don't oversaturate the space.
Exactly. Speaking of oversaturating things, let's move on from SMPs. Unless you had more to say about it, I just want to be a dead bush.
Oh, no. Let's keep this rolling.
But yeah, I feel like we've done a pretty good job of covering the SMP topic there. What do you think? And you can link SMPs into this, so there's a clean transition. What are your views on the future of Minecraft? Where do you think we'll be at in 5 years' time?
5 years' time.
Okay, well, not 5 years specifically, because that's like that typical interviewer question. Like I've always said it. So it's really,
5 years is.
I'm sorry, just really quickly before I answer, I just want to say something. When I asked that question in videos, because I think I asked it about about the SMPs, and I asked it in the tournament thing, like, where do you think the tournament scene will be?
I think I remember that.
Well, the tournament one hasn't come out yet, but the SMP one, yeah. It's really hypocritical, because my answer to that, and if anyone ever was ever to ask me that, like an interview, like, what are your plans in the next 5 years? I'd be like, am I meant to know? That's my answer. It's like, what, like, anything can change, right? So it's really hypocritical that I ask it, but I'm asking it anyway, so you're not allowed to use my answer against me. Where do you think we'll be at in 5 years?
I'm going to say that exact same thing.
And I'll put it in the free highlight clips. Sorry.
I have no clue. No, so specifically with Minecraft content, like in the next, let's say 2-3 years, right? What we're going to see as, once again, production gets bumped up more and more, and it's something we're seeing with POW, for example, we're going to see people make more interesting concepts. I think that we're seeing a shift away from beastification, a shift away from like fast-paced this, then this, then this, but there's never any major substance, to concepts, and going beyond just SMPs. I think we're going to see a rise in more tournaments and that kind of thing. There's something interesting to say about tournaments actually specifically, which is, technically speaking, and I might be wrong about this, I was working on a story for this for an unnamed gaming outlet, but technically speaking, Mojang and Microsoft, in their commercial guidelines, they don't want Minecraft events to succeed.
So there's yes, but then there's also the fact that they're collaborating with MCC, which is a
Which is what I was about to say. Oh yeah, right.
Yes. Sorry.
Really, it's no. It's okay, because yeah, they're at the same time, obviously, yeah, they're collaborating with MCC.
But MCC is probably like, they probably see it because, for instance, MCC is going to be on Bedrock Edition, right? And there's probably going to be stuff that you can get in the marketplace. So I reckon they probably see Noxcrew, who has made a crap ton of maps on Bedrock Edition. And not the only reason they're doing it, I'm just saying, it's like they see Noxcrew, who's made a crap ton of maps on Bedrock Edition. They see MCC, which is a thriving tournament and is making a lot of money probably from the store, enough to be able to fund MCC Island, which is a big Java server. They've probably seen that and be like, oh, actually, as much as we probably don't like tournaments, MCC is actually pretty beneficial to us. So why should we be so anti it if they're going to work, if they're doing this for our company?
I think it's going to be a major shift, because my initial byline for the story, or my initial kind of like narrative and angle, was the fact that in the consumer guidelines, it says that you can't make people pay to go to a Minecraft event, right? An in-person Minecraft event. That's a tournament or like a competition, something with or without creators. You are just not allowed to do it once it reaches a certain size. Specifically with that, obviously, yeah, the MCC thing directly spits in the face of it. And so then, is Minecraft just supporting something that they know makes money and blocking other people out from the space? Or is it one of those rules that's just entirely overlooked? And so I spoke to a few speedrunning creators about it, and about how specifically in regards to like speedrunning competitions, which is, they're becoming massive now. I think Minecraft speedrunning could be huge, and already is in a way. I think Minecraft's overlooking it. I really think so. I hope it changes. I really hope it changes.
Amazing.
For creators, I think the thing to look out for, and it has been for a very long time, is short form, but original short form. It's so easy to make content specifically surrounding a fandom. I think cosplayers have this issue a lot, and there are some cosplayers who have become like brilliant creators in their own regard, but a lot of people they don't show up for the individual, they'll show up for the fandom and then just stick around for the fandom. Make original, cool content. Be authentic to yourself, be passionate about the stuff that you're making videos on, because otherwise you'll lock yourself into this rut of making the same stuff. I'm very lucky that I haven't reached that point, but I know a lot of my friends have.
And that's why I like the podcast, because I don't let the view counts and stuff affect me. I kind of just do it. Sorry, not do. I just do it, and I enjoy it, and I think it's something to just not, because like God, this is gonna sound so egotistical, but I don't care. I'm bigging myself up. All right, I've seen ever since like InsideMC made its big return last April. It's only been back for a year. And before that, I'd only uploaded like 11 podcasts. I think this is number 111 possibly. Like ever since it made its big like return, I've seen so many people decide they want to try and start a podcast, or they want to try and do this, and like obviously not trying to call people out. And it's not just even just in the Minecraft space, and none of it's related to me. But I've seen like so many, and maybe it is related to me, who knows? But I've seen so many people like advertise that they're going to do this, or they're going to do like an interviewing thing, or they're going to do the podcast, and it's like, damn, I'm like one of the only people who have consistently been able to stick around and do it, which is kind of shocking to myself. I'm like, crap, I'm uploading to a week. I've done this for the last year. How is... And then this person like announces their one and ends up like not doing it because they're busy, or they've got other like content like streaming to prioritize, which completely respected. But I guess I just prioritize the podcast, and I think that's probably why I've been able to kind of keep it going. But no, and people have tried and they just haven't been able to lock in. So why is that, I wonder?
I think more than anything, and this is something which once again applies to any creator, it's the ability to really like schedule out content. It's the ability to be comfortable with your limits. Something which I learned very, very early on is like, I really should not go beyond my limits. Like, there was one day where I made like 3-4 shorts in a day. And it was like, you don't need to do this. This is your, like, there is an inherent limit here. You don't need to grind to this degree. I think posting, I'm back into the process of like posting daily shorts now, right? I'm getting back into that flow, and I'm comfortable with it. So many people are like, oh my God, no, I need to post a full video every day. No, you don't. Like, relax, please. Don't be hard on yourself. Especially since like there are a lot of people in the space who really want to grind it out, Orbitz. There are a lot of people who really, really want to, you know, like be the next big thing. No, experiment, make interesting stuff, and then you'll find an audience.
Just take your time, find your footing, and you're not going to get instant success. I mean, like, look at, for instance, just anyone who's listening to this, and if you're aspiring to be a creator, look at some of the people I brought on the podcast. I never say it. I never really flex the idea of who I brought on the podcast. I mean, I was very grateful when I made a tweet about Captain Sparkles coming on. But other than that, I don't go about going like, oh, look who I've had on. This is the first time I've ever really referenced it, and I've said names and stuff, but like, and then look at how the podcast has 2,000 subscribers. But then I'm getting people like Captain Sparkles on. I'm getting people like Laz on, and it's like
people like Laz. That's right, guys. Someday
you
will be able to get me on your podcast or video.
But it's just crazy, like the amount of creators I've had on, and the podcast has 2,000 subscribers. Why? Because I'm not a big name. I'm not a big podcast. I'm not massive, but I do a good job. You know, your success isn't always shown in the numbers. It isn't always shown in the income. It's shown in who looks at your content and goes, crap, I want to be a part of that. Same way with like Duckcraft, for instance. Like, it has a lot of like established creators. It doesn't have crazy SMP names like QSMP. People tune in, people watch it, people want to be a part of that SMP. It's not reflected in the numbers per se. It's reflected in the fact that people are interested in it. So just look at it from other angles than just, oh my God, I got so many views on this video, this is doing so good. And look at it as more so, I was able to get this person in my video, it's doing so good.
Well, the thing is, with YouTube, and someone's probably already said this on the podcast before, it's about mastering the craft. It's about iterating on, okay, I released this video, there are a few things I could do better, and slowly just getting better and better at the concept of making YouTube videos and the practice of making YouTube videos. So when luck eventually strikes, and let's be fully honest here, a lot of this is skill, but a lot of this is luck. When luck strikes, your skills are up to snuff and you are consistently making stuff, and you have a backlog that people can really invest themselves in. And
that's part of what I got. I mean, it was skill in, like, I've always said this. Sorry, I know you said not to apologize, but I don't care. Okay, I'm apologizing.
I'm apologizing.
Is that like with
this
me?
This is your podcast.
I know, but still. But with me, like, I've always said this, and I've always been very like open to it. I'm not blind to it. It's like, yes, there's the luck factor of, you know, I was able to get, like, I've always said it, and it's really ironic that that you're on the podcast today, because I've always said that my turnaround was when Fulham came on the podcast. It's serious. I've said it in other podcasts before. It's really not a joke. But like, my turnaround was when he came on the podcast, because that's when I was able to kind of start getting other people on. But like, I've always said this as well, is it was lucky, but it's part egotistical. I made my own luck. I did a good job. I made the podcast interesting.
No, that's not egotistical at all.
I worked really hard to get to this, and then I got lucky that I was able to get Fulham on, and then I got lucky that I was able to get these other connections. But if they turn around and saw this podcast and saw that they didn't know anyone who's come on, and the podcast is really badly professional, luck isn't going to take me anywhere. The luck comes from the hard work. So it's part and part.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, I think that all starts with your first upload. So stop dwelling on what you're going to do. Just experiment.
Oh, everyone has my Insane Orbitzz channel, which I've pretty much quit now because I post everything on InsideMC because Insane Orbitzz is dead and in the water. It has like 34k subs, but views and stuff, it just doesn't do well at all. But you know, that channel started off with like kind of rough, really crappy gameplay videos because I just uploaded video on my laptop. I did command block tutorials, which got a lot of views because they were tutorials and earning me a lot of money. But then the production quality came and I got my PC after like 2 years of doing YouTube, and I ended up being worse off, funny enough, with like money wise, with view wise, because I shifted my entire content, but the quality was better and people enjoyed the quality. But that didn't come straight away. How me and Laz are right now didn't come from our first upload. This came from after 2-3 years of content.
I've been streaming consistently since 2021, like, exactly. And 2023 was when like people started to really pay attention when I switched to Minecraft. We've been here a while.
We've been here a little bit. With that then, Laz, sorry, big little rant from me. Unless you wanted to add anything to the conversation.
I think you perfectly covered every aspect of like that experience, right? You know, it takes time. Please don't be demoralized if things take a while.
Just enjoy.
Enjoy and get drunk at TwitchCon, which certainly allows and just Orbitzz. That's right. No, I'm sorry.
Please, we definitely need to go and have a. I'll get you a drink. How's that sound?
Oh, what a treat! That's my payment for being on Inside. Well, you're paying me for this, right?
I've never paid anyone being on Inside.
You're paying me for being on it. No, but you.
No,
I thought we agreed on.
What did we agree on?
We agreed on like 150.
Did we? You know what? I'll put that in the pre-highlights so people can see you begging for money out of context.
I'm doing a bit, viewers, I promise. Oh my god, man. Oh.
No, that's not going. That's not going because that's too out of context. Carry on. Just one final question before we move on to the Twitter questions then. Oh, actually, no, before I say that, with the whole drinking thing, I'm actually, someone said they're going to get me a drink so I can extend the drink that I would have bought myself to you. I'm going out drinking with a few people, hopefully. So if you're down to, hopefully we can all just arrange.
Absolutely. I'm planning on doing karaoke another night as well, so that should be fun.
Oh shit! I just hope that we can all arrange, like, find one pub that everyone's just mutually going to go. Yeah, we'll go to that.
What we need is we need to create a Discord for everyone going to TwitchCon.
I was in one, but like it's not really. I can't. Actually, I could set that up, but then can I be bothered? No. If you get around to it, Laz, invite me, please. Okay. If you get invited to one.
Okay, as well as the Logitech and YouTube events.
Yeah, no, but the Discord is a bit different, all right? You know, invite me to the Discord because I'm also going to TwitchCon. One final question, and before we move on to the Twitter questions here. What content did you do before Minecraft?
Oh, so what we're getting into here, I guess, is like the CertainlyLaz origin story beyond the name, but before Minecraft. So I did a lot of Nintendo stuff, and for a while I was averaging, something like 6-7 viewers, which is, I think it's better than a lot of people on Twitch, truthfully, but like it's very different from where I am now. And then I broke into this art community of people who I was like previously friends with, who I chatted a lot to, and from there I got some raids in. 2021 and 2022 was such a strange time for Twitch, specifically smaller Twitch. Something that a lot of people don't realize is just the scale of this website, and also the scale of this website for people who don't watch big streamers. So for example, a lot of these people don't stream anymore, but Elliot is a cool guy, was the biggest person in this community. He was a graphic designer, and he averaged around 100 viewers. But then beyond that, people like Let's Brock, LBXO, Kick the PJ is another one. These people who were in this community who just wanted to help each other out and grow. So being in that kind of like more mature community, that older community that was away from Minecraft, really taught me, okay, every niche is inherently different. The amount of like, not only the amount of money you make from like Twitch, but also the kinds of people you meet, the kind of, relationships you build up are inherently different based on the communities. They're the people I went to TwitchCon Amsterdam with, which was the first time I traveled by myself anywhere. With TwitchCon Paris, a few of them went, and with TwitchCon this year, one of them's in the Artist Alley. So cool. I built up a community over there, and then I started to pivot more and more into YouTube, more and more into Minecraft gradually, especially as university started. Because back when I was at home, back living with my parents, because I started in college, streaming. I was streaming off of a really shitty computer and a mobile hotspot, queso style, back in 2021. I was just really, really driven to making sure, I could do this. So yeah, it took a very long time to find my flow and something that I really, really enjoyed. But I played Minecraft since I was a kid. The fact that I can do this now consistently and have people enjoy tuning in, it's the dream, man. It's the dream. So yeah, I'm very, very honored to have my audience.
There we go. And that's a wholesome way before we get into the Twitter questions then.
Oh, Twitter questions. Oh God.
So the first one comes from it's not a question. It's from Lewis Fulham.
My word!
No. The first one comes from Joe Kana, who gets the clips.
Did Fulham not say anything?
Oh no, they said I've literally already been on the podcast. It's just
legend. Okay,
I just wanted to get one more in there. Sorry, I'm really being a dead push right now.
It's all good.
The first one comes from Joe Kana, who actually listens to the podcast and then turns like certain clips into short form content. They don't do like crazy for views, but they good like little bit of promotion, and they've helped quite a lot with like growing the channel. So big up Joe Kana, who's probably going to turn this question into a short, so keep it under 1 minute for us, Laz.
I'll try my best.
How has making short form content affected your career?
Oh, this is not going to be kept to a minute, Orbitzz. Short form content, it's invaluable, and I definitely say it's the reason I got to the point that I had now. If there's a core premise that like engages a fan base, you're really able to integrate yourself into the culture around that fan base. So like, for example, what I did with combining Minecraft news reporting or more Minecraft content with the new stuff that I've done before. And so people came to find out what happened on the QSMP and then were invested in what I was doing as a whole from that. For example, with streaming and stream events. Short form is the best possible way to gain an audience in 2024, but you really, really need to make sure you have a strong brand identity with it, right? There's a sea of Minecraft creators. So make sure that your content is actually unique. The easiest way I found to push that was put my face in it. So yeah, I think that's my answer.
Oh, that's a nice answer. I like that. The next one comes from, linking back to earlier, from Watermunch.
Hey, Water!
Can you ask him why he's voting Watermunch in the upcoming Duckcraft elections, please? Thanks. XO.
If I was answering this 2 days ago, it'd be a fully different answer. It'd be like, yes, absolutely, Water, I'm voting for you. But specifically with what happened yesterday, with maybe some election corruption happening, I don't know if I would be Watermunch. I'd say definitely, I was about to promote it as if this was going out before the stream that's happening tomorrow. I was going to say watch out for tomorrow's stream, but we'll see what happens in the election announcement segment tomorrour.
There we go. The next one from...
a teaser for something that's already happened.
Well, you know what? Now you know the law. There you go. If you listen to this podcast, you get an insightful insight on the law. Next one comes from Cinnamon.
Hey!
Not yay.
My channel mod.
Question for Laz. Who is your favourite mod?
I would never have a favorite mod at all. No, I will say, like, my moderators are some of the best in the game. I'm unbelievably honored to have the moderators that I do. They're so experienced, they're so professional. If you're a Twitch streamer and you don't have any mods, please don't take mine, but also you can have mine. No, I don't have a favorite mod is my answer. I love Sin. I love OK Cool Meg, Skaki as well. Cheesy Cast, who I said did camera work for my events. I feel like I'm missing a few people. Ellie Jane, It's Whimsy. I believe that's all of my mods. If I've missed someone, I am so sorry.
If Laz here has missed someone, then you're the least like child.
I think I said OK Cool Meg. I think I'm good. Yeah. No, I hate OK Cool Meg.
So this one's from Eli's in Space. It's not a question, it's a statement. But it's really funny because I'm about to give you a little insight on law here, Laz. Oh, okay. Pure accident, but also on purpose. I had MCYT highlights on the podcast last week. That's not the pure accident on purpose thing, but I had them on podcast. We were talking about...
Not released yet?
Yeah, it came out today. No, yesterday. It came out yesterday.
Cool.
So
I'll give it a listen.
On Wednesday. We talk about how they're going to get into like crediting creators and how they're going to do all that kind of jazz. I was scrolling through Twitter to look through like how they credited creators in the past. This part was by accident, but the fact I used this one and didn't find a different one was on purpose. I knew you was coming on the podcast. That podcast was going to be released a week later. So a clip from you going, "Oh, this is shit as fuck."
Yeah.
So I actually referenced that on the MCYT highlights podcast.
Let's go.
Eli has replied to this tweet. "Oh, this is shit as fuck."
This is shit as fuck. That is absolutely fantastic. Eli is so interesting as a creator. I was up quite late talking to them a couple of nights ago. They are so fascinating in the sense that they got their start on like the kind of like short form scene, but specifically not on YouTube, over on TikTok. I don't know. I love talking about content stuff with creators. Eli, you're bloody great, mate. Specifically talking about MCYT highlights, I'm surprised they haven't actually come up to this point in the conversation. I hope they won't listen to this because I'm about to big them up a little bit. But stuff that pages like that do is they take a lot of weight off of creators' shoulders by cultivating a community around MCYT as a whole and fandom as a whole. And that's something which is absolutely like invaluable. I'm glad to see that Camden is now moving into doing at the same time their own stuff because yeah, like it's exactly what I did, but had my like identity tied to it from the start. It was talking about other creators. It was promoting what's going on other servers and then going off and doing my own thing. I think fan pages are the like lifeblood of MCYT. And I think we're going to see that a lot more as time goes on, as we see kind of hopefully a renaissance of SMPs. Excited for the future. MCYT highlights. Camden, you are a legend.
Posting more InsideMC clips. You said you would, so now like post that. Post that InsideMC clip. A bit of
nepotism going on here.
I love myself. Big fan of myself. Best way to be. It's how I grow.
Hell yeah.
The final one then comes from Wes. Question: Who has been your biggest inspiration?
Wow, that is okay. Good question. It's not something I think about a lot, but I think specifically my my biggest inspiration in regards to what I'm doing right now comes from outside of Minecraft. And sorry, I know this is inside MC, but I'm about to go outside MC. No, my biggest inspiration in terms of content is Jeremy985. Jeremy is a legend within Twitch. He is, I'd say, a cornerstone of what makes Twitch. And Jeremy taught me that at its core, this should be something that everyone just has fun being a part of, like being in the eye of this chaotic storm. Have you watched any Jeremy?
Oh god, a little bit.
Orbitz, I've got to show you his events. So Jeremy did a show called The Dollhouse. It was pretty much in a huge warehouse. He and his team built up a dollhouse, right? Like a house that was split down the middle, so you could see every single room. And he had his chat control him and do everything and make him do what he's doing, pretty much like a sim. And it showed once again what's possible with Twitch, or what's possible with interaction. Jen Loss, another huge inspiration for me. Ranboo is incredible.
Yeah. I know that.
I think Slimesicle as well, a massive inspiration. I'm trying to think of people within MC that are really pushing the space forward. Honestly, it's as simple as basic of an answer as this truly is. Tommy in it is fantastic at that hyper focus on making engaging, really like stunning content. I think that there are right now a bunch of people who are pushing the space forward. I feel like Tommy was that in 2021 and 2022. Jack Manifold as well. How can I not bring up Jack? I met Jack at the YouTube party and we spoke for an hour about the decline of like legacy media and TV and stuff like that. Jack really knows his shit. Huge inspiration.
Yeah. Want to know who mine was?
Go on.
But my inspiration, not like my entire inspiration, just the person who got me, who made me start InsideMC. It's a Jackmate.
Jackmate. Okay.
Yeah. When I worked at a warehouse shop 2 years ago, I listened to my first ever podcast, which was Jackmate's Happy Hour. I just loved it so much. I was like, screw it, I want to do this, and that's why we're sitting
I've
here
listened to the
talking
Tom
today.
Unit episode, I think. Yeah, Jack is absolutely. Well, it's the ability to convey information and to make a guest feel really, really welcome. That's really hard to do over audio. I'll put this out now, and I know that people might disagree with me. In terms of audio, it is the hardest format to, let's say for maybe writing, to convey emotion through. I think that radio, you need to paint pictures with words. You need to instill an emotion with just your voice, your tone, your cadence. It's once again going into journalism. It's the reason why I struggle so much with making radio packages. So I think podcasts obviously are the new radio to a degree. It's very difficult to kind of have that like homely talk show feel on a podcast. So I think you're cooking. Orbitz.
I was going to say, dead honest, what's your opinion? You can be as brutal or as nice as you want. What's your opinion on today?
I think that specifically a show like this, one that is right now very focused in on a niche community, you're doing the best job that you possibly can, especially as you kind of expand outwards, you get more creators involved, and you create and syndicate content across other platforms that match the vibe, right? So, for example, I know you called it a rip-off of something the Sidemen did, but it's a format.
Well, not rip-off, it's inspiration from them. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I describe it as more than an inspiration. I think it's inherently your own concept, taking aspects from other people's shows. That is, I guess this is a long-winded thing to talk about on a podcast, but that's how you pivot into making something like this profitable. And right now, the biggest thing that creators are struggling with, I think, is making this something that's worthwhile monetarily. Yeah, I think that going in that direction is very good for your wallet and very good for also viewers, because it's a really fun format. You experimented and it paid off. With
that concept as well. So little bit of a kind of an insider view on it and why it's so different is obviously even with
one more inspiration, Average Harry. Sorry, carry on. I love Average Harry. It just came to me in a flash. Anyway, carry on.
That's
sorry.
Fine, Dora. What I was saying with the whole thing was even from what's the name? Genius. They've done it the how much do people agree? But the thing is, how all these channels do it is they have them all together, because obviously it's in person. They have them all together, and then some of them will have a little say, and they'll kind of debate between them. But the concept of how we did it was I went into 8 different calls with 8 different people. I asked them which one they'd move to, and then asked them to explain why. And the concept of the video is it's fully animated, so it looks like they're all together, but they're not. They're all different calls, but they're all animated together in the video. Then each of them get to give an in-depth explanation as to why they felt that way without having or being persuaded or disagreeing with anyone else. So it's the same concept, but it's completely original in my idea.
It's impartiality. It's something which, once again, is very, very important in old media. And so seeing people actively do that and like make sure that no one's influenced by other people, good shit.
Well, with that being said then, as that sadly brings the end of this week's Midweek MC. It's been an amazing chat. I love this. I'm going to really enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking. I'd love to just, even off of like the podcast, just talk about this stuff. I'll be seeing you at TwitchCon regardless.
Oh yeah, I reckon we'll have a... I mean, like I said, I actually am genuinely... I would love to like just try and get everyone to go into the same pub so we can just all interact with each other. I mean, like I said,
absolutely.
Like even just to get you and Wade Box in the same room, like that's one little thing in a big world of who you could meet, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could be a good idea. I don't know.
Well, I'm not, sorry, go on.
I'm just gonna say, I'm not saying like I'm the glue, but I feel like I've delved into so many different communities. So when you go, oh, I don't know who Wade Box is, and play, it's just like, so I'm just using it as like the bare minimum example here, but it's just like, oh my god, I'm like, I've talked to so many different creators, I forget that I'm one of the rare ones who have interacted with so many different communities. These people actually don't know each other, even though it feels like they should.
Yeah, well, as I said before, MCYT and content as a whole is so wide. Like this is the new personality-driven media, right? And so as time goes on and this starts to get more and more saturated, we're gonna see a lot of people not knowing each other, but realistically should, like people who should know each other. I don't know. I'm always up for meeting new creators. It was the reason why I was originally going to do a full series of Life of Views. It's a way to reach out to creators. It's a way to bounce off of creators and have that kind of organic like discussion on a live stream.
There you go, and you've done an amazing job. I can see why good at journalism.
Thank you very much. No, thanks.
Before I do the outro here, I always like to give this opportunity for you to promote yourself. Anyone who listens to this podcast, and I'll be really, really surprised if they don't want to go and watch your content in their own time.
If you've reached the end, what are you doing?
Exactly. If you've reached the end, you clearly love the dude. So where can we find you, Laz?
So I really should have put this in my intro. I primarily stream over on Twitch 3 times a week. I also post every single day on YouTube and TikTok. I'd highly recommend you giving the YouTube a visit because that's where all of my content is being piled into right now. Love to see you there. I'd hate to see you there. Don't go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Reverse psychology. Let's see if it works.
That's the final clip we're going to see in the highlights. With that being said, thank you, Laz, for coming on. You've been an amazing guest.
Thank you for having me, Orbitz. I'm going to keep a keen eye on InsideMC in future.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep a keen eye on your game shows. Or not even game shows, you know what I mean? The shows. The Laz. I'm going to keep a keen eye on CertainlyLaz. There we go.
I will look out of my window every night and make sure that you aren't there hovering.
Not that keen.
A very keen eye.
Thank you all for listening. We hope you've all enjoyed. This sadly brings the end of Midweek MC. Stay safe. Don't eat too much bread. Pieces.
And follow the podcast. Okay, that's it.
There we go.